There's a certain power in silence that many people underestimate. When someone disrespects you, the natural instinct is to fire back, to defend yourself, to make sure they know you won't be walked over. But have you ever noticed what happens when you don't react at all? When you don't give them the satisfaction of a response? The air gets heavier. The words they threw at you just sit there, and they start to wonder why you haven't said anything. That's the power of silence. Staying quiet after disrespect isn't weakness. It's control. It's choosing not to be a puppet to someone else's negativity. It's deciding that their words, their insults, their attempts to provoke you, none of it has enough power over you to pull you out of your peace. And that is something that takes real strength, because anybody can lash out, anybody can argue, anybody can get dragged into the mud. But not everyone has the discipline to hold their ground without saying a word. When you refuse to react, you shift the dynamic. You take away their ability to get under your skin. You show them that their words don't dictate your emotions, and suddenly they're the ones who feel powerless. Because disrespect is often a test to see if they can rattle you, if they can make you question yourself, if they can get a rise out of you. But when you don't give them what they're looking for, they're left with nothing but their own bitterness. Silence forces people to sit with what they've done. When you respond with anger, they can justify their actions by pointing at your reaction. See, that's why I said what I said. But when you say nothing, they don't have an excuse. They're left alone with the weight of their words. And more often than not, it starts to sink in. They start to feel the emptiness of what they've said. They start to question whether they were right. And sometimes silence plants a seed that words never could. But let's be honest, choosing silence isn't always easy. The ego doesn't like it. The ego wants to prove a point, to win the argument, to make sure the other person knows they were wrong. But real strength isn't about proving anything. It's about knowing who you are so deeply that you don't need to explain it to anyone. It's about being so secure in yourself that disrespect doesn't shake you because you know it has nothing to do with you. Think about the people who are truly powerful, the ones who walk into a room and command respect without even speaking. They don't have to shout to be heard. They don't have to fight for attention. Their presence alone is enough. That's what happens when you master the ability to stay quiet in the face of disrespect. You become untouchable. You become someone who doesn't need to fight battles with words because you've already won the war within yourself. And the truth is, the world is full of noise. Everyone's talking. Everyone's trying to prove something. Everyone's caught up in the chaos of reaction. But the ones who stand out are the ones who don't engage in the noise. The ones who know when to speak and when to hold their peace. And when you stay quiet after disrespect, you send a louder message than any words ever could. So the next time someone tries to tear you down, don't give them the satisfaction of a reaction. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them say what they want. And when they're done, let your silence remind them that their words don't define you. That is power. That is strength. That is control. Here's your expanded speech segment. When someone disrespects you, the first thing you have to remember is this: it's not really about you. It feels personal. It feels like an attack on your character, your worth, your dignity. But if you step back for just a moment, you'll realize something powerful. Disrespect doesn't come from a place of strength. It comes from weakness. It comes from insecurity. It comes from a heart that hasn't yet learned kindness, from a mind that hasn't yet matured enough to value others. A person who truly knows their worth doesn't need to tear someone else down. A person who walks with confidence, who is at peace within themselves, doesn't go around disrespecting people. The ones who do, they're fighting battles inside that you can't see. They're carrying burdens that have nothing to do with you. And yet in their frustration, in their pain, in their ignorance, they lash out at others. And sometimes that other happens to be you. Now, what happens when you react to their disrespect? What happens when you engage, when you throw insults back, when you let their words get under your skin? You've now made their problem your problem. You've given them control over your emotions. You've let their bitterness pull you into a battle you never needed to fight. But when you recognize that their words, their actions, their negativity, it's all a reflection of them, not you, you free yourself. You take back your power. You refuse to be a mirror for their insecurities. Think about it. If a person who is angry, bitter, and full of resentment speaks to you with disrespect, what does that really say? It says they are drowning in their own emotions. It says they are not in control of themselves, and it says they are looking for someone to take that weight off of them, even if just for a moment, by passing their pain on to you. But you don't have to take it. You don't have to hold on to words that were never meant to be a true reflection of who you are. And this is where silence becomes so powerful. When you don't respond, when you don't engage, when you don't let their words change your spirit, you make them face themselves. You make them sit with the reality that their actions are their own. You refuse to carry the burden of their negativity, and in that moment, something shifts. Have you ever seen someone insult another person only to be met with silence? It's unsettling because they were expecting a reaction. They were expecting a fight. They were expecting to get under your skin. But when you don't give them what they're looking for, when you don't stoop to their level, they have no choice but to feel the weight of their own words. And whether they admit it or not, deep down, they know that what they said was wrong. They know that they were speaking from a place of weakness. It takes real strength to look at disrespect and say, this isn't about me. It takes wisdom to understand that people's words are often just a projection of their own pain. And it takes courage to stay silent, to refuse to let someone else's brokenness shake you. Because at the end of the day, your value isn't defined by how others treat you. Your worth isn't measured by their words. A person can call you anything they want, but that doesn't make it true. Their disrespect doesn't lower your value. It doesn't take away from who you are. It only reveals who they are. So let them talk. Let them assume. Let them say what they will. But don't let it change you. Don't let it make you question yourself. Don't let it take away your peace. Because at the end of the day, the only opinion that truly matters is the one you hold of yourself. And when you know who you are, when you walk with confidence, when you refuse to let the words of others shake you, that is where true power lies. Here's your expanded speech segment. There's something about silence that unsettles people. We live in a world where everyone is quick to speak, quick to react, quick to make sure their voice is heard. But silence, real, intentional silence, carries a weight that words never can. And when someone disrespects you, nothing makes them feel the weight of their own actions more than your decision not to respond. People expect a reaction. That's why they throw disrespect your way in the first place. They want to get a rise out of you. They want to pull you into their chaos. They want you to engage in their negativity because that's where they feel most comfortable. But when you don't give them that, when you stand firm, when you refuse to be moved, when you simply look at them or even walk away without saying a word, that silence speaks louder than anything you could have said in the heat of the moment. Because here's what happens. When you don't react, they're left alone with their words. They're left alone with the weight of what they just said. And for the first time, they have to sit in it. See, if you argue back, you give them something to hold on to, something to justify their behavior. But when you don't respond, they don't get that relief. They don't get the satisfaction of turning it into a fight. Instead, they're forced to confront their own behavior, whether they realize it in that moment or not. And often that silence stays with them far longer than any argument would. Because words come and go, arguments fade, but silence lingers. It stays in the back of their mind. It makes them wonder. It forces them to reflect, and sometimes it even makes them regret. Not always right away, but eventually, that quiet moment where they were left alone with their own disrespect, it comes back to them. And deep down, they know. They know they were wrong. But this isn't just about them. This is about you. It's about your peace. It's about your self-control. It's about not allowing someone else's actions to dictate your emotions. Because when you react in anger, you give them power. You let them pull you down to their level. But when you stay silent, when you refuse to give them that satisfaction, you keep your power where it belongs, with you. That kind of discipline is rare. Most people are quick to respond, quick to defend, quick to make sure they have the last word. But the ones who truly understand their own strength, they don't waste their energy proving anything to anyone. They don't engage in battles that don't serve them. They don't let disrespect shake them because they know exactly who they are. And when you know who you are, when you walk in confidence, when you refuse to be moved by the words of someone who doesn't even understand your value, there's nothing more powerful than that. So the next time someone tries to get under your skin, the next time they throw insults, the next time they try to pull you into their negativity, just stop, take a breath, look at them, and then say nothing. Walk away. Let them sit with their own words. Let them deal with the silence. And in that moment, they will feel the weight of their own actions in a way they never would have if you had chosen to argue. Because sometimes the loudest response isn't a response at all. Here's your expanded speech segment. The difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is instant, emotional, and often fueled by impulse. A response, on the other hand, is intentional. It's thought out, measured, and rooted in wisdom rather than emotion. When someone disrespects you, the easiest thing in the world is to react, to fire back with words, to defend yourself, to match their energy. But the real strength isn't in reacting. It's in taking a step back, letting the emotions settle, and choosing how to respond, if you even respond at all. Disrespect is a trap. It's bait designed to pull you into conflict, to get you to engage on a level that isn't worth your time. And the moment you take the bait, you've already lost. Because now, instead of moving forward, instead of staying focused on what actually matters, you're caught up in someone else's negativity. You're spending your energy on something that in the grand scheme of things won't add anything of value to your life. And for what? To prove a point? To win an argument that won't matter tomorrow? But when you take a moment, when you pause, when you refuse to be pulled into the chaos, you reclaim your power. You remind yourself that not every battle is worth fighting. You remind yourself that the way someone else treats you does not have to determine how you behave, because your actions, your character, your peace, that belongs to you, and no one should have the ability to take it away with just a few words. Think about the times when you reacted out of anger. Did it ever make things better? Did it ever truly resolve the situation? Or did it just escalate, turning something small into something much bigger than it needed to be? That's what happens when you react without thinking. Things spiral. But when you stay quiet, when you take a breath and let time do what time does best, you find clarity. And more often than not, you realize that the best response is no response at all. Because the truth is, silence is not weakness. Silence is restraint. Silence is choosing to prioritize your peace over temporary emotions. Silence is refusing to lower yourself to a level that doesn't align with who you are. And when you master that, when you learn to control your reactions, you become untouchable. And this isn't just about avoiding conflict. This is about training yourself to think before you act, to pause before you speak, to be intentional about where you place your energy. Because every time you respond instead of react, you reinforce your own self-control. You teach yourself discipline. You prove to yourself that your emotions do not control you, you control them. And here's what happens when you do that. People notice. They see the way you carry yourself. They see that you don't get rattled easily. They see that no matter what is said, no matter how much someone tries to provoke you, you remain steady. And that kind of presence commands respect. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember, you don't have to react. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to engage in battles that aren't worth your time. Take a breath, think, and then if you choose to respond, Do it on your own terms. But if you choose to stay silent, know that sometimes that is the most powerful response of all. Here's your expanded speech segment. Not everyone deserves a reaction. Not every comment needs an answer. Not every insult requires a defense. There's something powerful about knowing when to protect your energy, when to step back, when to refuse to engage in things that don't serve you. Because the truth is, your peace is worth more than a temporary victory in an argument. Your energy is too valuable to be wasted on people who thrive on negativity. Disrespect is a test. It's designed to pull you into someone else's storm, to shake you, to make you forget who you are. And the moment you let it in, the moment you start arguing, explaining, proving yourself, you've already let them take something from you. You've handed over your peace. You've given them access to your emotions. And suddenly, you're no longer in control. They are, because now, instead of focusing on what actually matters in your life, you're caught up in their mess. But when you stay quiet, when you refuse to react, when you choose to let their words fall to the ground without picking them up, you take all of that power back. You remind yourself that their disrespect is not your burden to carry. You remind yourself that their negativity does not belong in your space. And most of all, you remind yourself that your energy is yours to protect. People who go around disrespecting others, tearing people down, trying to get a reaction, those are not people who are at peace with themselves. A person who is truly secure, truly happy, truly fulfilled does not spend their time trying to provoke or diminish others. So when someone disrespects you, understand what's really happening. They are showing you exactly where they are in life. They are revealing their own inner battles, their own frustrations, their own lack of peace. And the last thing you should do is let that energy transfer onto you. You have to be intentional about where you place your focus, what you allow to take up space in your mind. There are goals you're trying to reach, dreams you're working toward, a life you're building. Every time you stop to engage with someone's negativity, you're taking time away from that. You're pouring your energy into something that won't help you grow, won't bring you peace, won't add anything good to your life. And the thing is, when you stop reacting, when you stop giving people the attention they're looking for, they eventually realize they have no power over you. They see that no matter what they say, no matter how much they try to provoke you, it doesn't work. And that is what truly unsettles them. Because they were expecting a fight. They were expecting to get a rise out of you. And when that doesn't happen, they're left standing there holding on to their own bitterness with no one to pass it to. Not everything needs to be addressed. Not every false statement about you needs to be corrected. Not every rumor needs to be shut down. Sometimes the best thing you can do is let your silence be the response. Let your character speak for itself. Let your actions prove who you are. Because at the end of the day, what people say about you does not define you. What you do, how you carry yourself, the way you move forward, despite it all, that is what truly matters. So when someone comes at you with disrespect, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Is this worth my peace? Is this something that will matter 5 years from now? And if the answer is no, then let it go. Stay quiet. Keep moving. Keep protecting your energy. Because some battles aren't worth fighting, and some people aren't worth engaging with. Keep your peace and let your silence be your strength. Here's your expanded speech segment. There is something about silence that unsettles people. They expect an argument, a reaction, a need to defend yourself, but when they're met with nothing but quiet strength, it speaks louder than any words ever could, because silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on people who thrive on negativity. It's understanding that your self-worth is not determined by the opinions of those who do not truly know you. And most of all, it's realizing that sometimes the best response is no response at all. People will talk. They will misunderstand you. They will twist your words, question your character, and even try to bring you down. That's the way of the world. But you do not have to attend every argument you're invited to. You do not have to fight battles that serve no purpose, because at the end of the day, your character will always speak louder than their words. The way you live, the way you treat others, the way you walk in integrity, those things will define you far more than any rumor, insult, or disrespect ever could. It's easy to get caught up in defending yourself, to want to set the record straight, to prove to others that what was said about you isn't true. But here's the truth. The people who truly know you, the ones who truly matter, they don't need an explanation. And the people who are quick to believe lies, who are eager to judge you without knowing your heart, those are not the people whose opinions should hold any weight in your life. When you stay quiet in the face of disrespect, you show a level of strength that most people do not have. It's easy to react, easy to throw words back, easy to meet anger with more anger, but it takes true self-control to rise above it, to refuse to engage, to let go of the need to be understood by those who were never listening in the first place. And that kind of strength, that kind of wisdom will always set you apart. People who disrespect others are often looking for validation in their own bitterness. They want to bring others down because deep down they are struggling with their own insecurities, their own disappointments, their own failures. And when you refuse to engage, when you refuse to let their words shake you, you deny them the satisfaction of seeing you affected. You take away the power they thought they had over you. But even beyond that, you protect your peace. You protect your focus. Because every time you stop to respond to negativity, you take your eyes off the things that truly matter. You shift your energy from what is productive, from what is meaningful, to something that will drain you without ever giving anything back. And that is not a trade worth making. So let them talk, let them assume, let them believe whatever they want to believe. It is not your job to convince anyone of your worth. It is not your responsibility to make them see your heart. The people who are meant to be in your life will see it. The people who truly matter will know. And the ones who don't, they were never meant to walk with you in the first place. At the end of the day, silence is not about letting people get away with disrespect. It's about choosing where to place your energy. It's about knowing that your peace is too precious to be disturbed by meaningless opinions. It's about walking away from battles that do not deserve your presence. And when you do that, when you refuse to let someone else's words define your actions, you stand in a power that no one can take from you. So hold your head high, keep walking, keep building, keep becoming, and let your silence say everything that needs to be said.